Welcome to this new edition of Lectio Musica, the place for great lyrics, great music, and great meaning. My name is Guilain Prince. I'm a Franciscan friar from Canada, and I love rock music for a long, long time, especially hard rock, metal, and prog. In this series, once a week, we gather around one song. Most of the time, it's a new song for me, and we look at the lyrics closely. We look at the musical construction as well as the meaning of the song. This week, I reacted earlier to a song of the band Rush. Let me give you the screen right away. So we are on a journey, 10 songs of Rush. This is the fourth one. It is called Spirit of Radio. Now, last week, I did a song from the album Hemisphere, The Trees. And I published as well my reaction to the song. It's not a song, it's a musical piece, a complex one, 2112, that was blocked a little bit earlier. Now it's on. Earlier this week, so I said I reacted to the song Spirit of Radio. I react in French. Since then, I listened to the whole album, Permanent Waves. I think it's fantastic. I love the album. There's only one song that I find a little bit less appealing to my taste anyway. But the whole album is wonderful, is excellent to me anyways. So here is the analysis of the same song, Spirit of Radio. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel, and especially when you know that after Rush, after these 10 songs of Rush, we will go to Kansas, Epica, we will go to many great bands during the year. So the song Spirit of a Radio is the first song of the album Permanent Waves of 1980. That's the 7th album of Rush. The album contains as well Free Will, Jacob's Ladder, and Natural Science, very beloved songs among the fans. The composers, as usually, the three of them are credited for words and music, but we know from somewhere else that Neil Peart wrote the lyrics about a radio station in Toronto. It was the song chosen by the band at the induction of Rush at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it is, if not the most well-known song, it's maybe their favorite. Sadly, though, I ended up with a recording that was not very good. It seems that Geddy Lee had some kind of, we say in French, briser la voix, or it was not warmed enough. It didn't work very well. But you can find easily on the internet. The day before, he recorded the same song, same settings, same clothing, and it's presented as same thing, Spirit of Radio, and just look for Spirit of the Radio, best intro ever. The reason why the guy called, he thought it was the intro of Spirit of Radio, but in fact it's a mashup of many of the great riffs and great moment of songs of Rush, and after that they do a Spirit of Radio. So altogether it's a musical piece of more than 10 minutes, very enjoyable one. But just to tell you that of that song, Spirit of Radio, there are many great recordings. Especially I have in my mind a beautiful one of 1989, so don't hesitate. This song has been beautifully played and recorded many times. The intro is a very identifiable and well-known and iconic a guitar riff. I don't know if we call a riff in that kind. It's a series of notes. It's and then after the rhythm section enters, and this is very, very Rush. And from my point of view, when I heard that, I said, okay, now Rush is the band that I loved so much in the 80s. I began a fan of Rush right after that. And especially the ride, what we call the cymbal ride, he plays it with the right hand. Of that section of Neil Peart is a signature beat of Neil Peart. We enter into the words right away. It's not a very long intro, but it's beautiful. Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion, unobtrusive. Plays that song that's so elusive, and the magic music makes your morning mood. The friendly voice, of course, is the radio station you are usually tuning in. It can be also the voice of a singer that you like, but it's a companion that is non-intrusive. It comes in on the tippy-toeing, we could say, because you can turn it off. So and these songs evoke so many. So the illusion of somewhere else, of something else, is right there in the song, and the magic music makes your morning mood. When a beautiful song begins, you have a big smile, and I think that this song has this effect on a lot of people. It's we call it a feel-good song, but it's more than that. It's a very the spirit of the song is very joyful in a way. It celebrates something, and we will talk about that in a few minutes. Off on your way, hit the open road. There is magic at your fingers, for the spirit ever lingers, undemanding contact in your happy solitude. Now, off you go, off on your way, hit the open road, and the open road is both the road, physical road, but it's the open space also that opens for you the music. There is magic at your fingertips, of course, when you select the channel you want to listen. There is magic in these radio stations. For the spirit ever lingers. So here, all this music through the airwaves are presented as the spirit of radio. So a kind of life, unseen yet really present, that you can get at your fingertips, and undemanding contact, because it doesn't, if you do not select the channel, it demands anything. It's kind of, I would say, it's a generous offer that you can choose among all these stations. In your happy solitude, when you travel, what is implied here is that most people are traveling by car in solitude, maybe, but anyways, it fills the place. I know how great is music in a car. Here I made a small play on word. Instead of writing chorus, it is the chorus. It's the only section that is repeated. But I wrote anti chorus, because usually the chorus in a song is the most memorable melody, the most very often it's the most charged, the more, I would say, the most melodic part of the song. Here, as if the refrain tones down a little bit, like if the chorus is a moment of reflection of some sort, And what is it that it says? Invisible airways crackle with life. Bright antenna bristle with the energy. Emotional feedback on timeless wavelength. Bearing a gift beyond price, almost free. That's beautiful. The invisible, we already talked about this, crackle with life. So what this spirit of radio brings in the invisible world is life. This is a wave of life. Bright and bristle with energy. It's stimulated with energy. Emotional feedback on timeless wavelength. Now we have for the moment the posture of the one listening to the music, and there is in the music, in the selection of the channel, the station we will take, there's an answer to my emotional. So there's a feedback. I've been fed emotionally by the music I choose. Bearing a gift beyond price. These airwaves, they bring a gift beyond price. Great music is priceless, almost free. Yeah, there is an offer in the radio station. There's an offer, and it doesn't cost much to have some kind of small receptor of the waves. So it's almost free. Of course, it is not, we all know that, but it's almost free. That's a beautiful chorus, I think, in terms of words. All this machinery. Oh, the melody is the one of the verse, but the rhythm changes quite a lot. There is a machine involved here in terms of music. And this is what there is will, determination, but machines working so that this music is sent to me. So all this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted. Yeah, all of this can be open-hearted. Okay, not so coldly charted. It's really just a question of your honesty. Yeah, your honesty. Not so coldly charted. We will talk about this a little bit later, but I think the charts are of two or three kinds in radio broadcasting. There is the charts, the hits, the number 4, number 5 of this week, or number 4 or 10 of the year. There is the charts of the most popular songs. Okay, there are the charts also of the ratings among radio stations, those who are able to, I would say, seize the attention of a certain group of age. And there are the charts, the general charts of what will be the productions, what will be the radio programs, in what order, which one is the most popular among the programs we have at the station, the Morning Man. So all of this is coldly charted, as if an accountant, was evaluating music for its commercial value or revenue value. It's interesting. It appears there a little bit unexpected, because right before that, this missionary could be open-hearted, but it can be cold. One likes to believe in the freedom of music, and then there's a pause. There's one line missing in that, and this pause is there on purpose to say, oh, something new will begin from there. So all of the above is about the freedom of music, the creativity of the musicians and the composers, but reality of radio broadcast might be a little bit different. but glittering prizes and endless compromises shatter the illusion of integrity. If we have an illusion of integrity, here he calls integrity an illusion, because probably it's very difficult to be in I would say in a fully integrate. I don't know the adjective in English, but to express integrity when you are constantly referring to the charts, and that you make compromises, and that you look for prizes, Bass Rock Song of the Year, blah blah blah. So if there was an expectation, a value called integrity as a musician, maybe in front of those you might break the illusion of integrity. Again, invisible airwaves, you already know this. I love the little addition at the end, almost free. A bit of reality. Next, here we have the bridge. The bridge is fabulous. I love it. A very lively one where the chord progression makes, I would say, a basic melody with very sudden changes in the time signature, broken measures and everything. It seems, because it's quite melodic, it might at first sound simple, but if you listen carefully, it's not simple at all. It's very complex. And for me, there are two stars in this section: the bass line and the ride and other symbols of of Neil Peart. There's only one small line made by the keyboard, so it's very easy to forget the guitarist in that song. And as we will say, you will see that the cement of the song is the guitarist. He is the one always present. And there's a reminder, the riff, guitar riff, and the opening, very close to the opening. And then suddenly, instead of going back to the beginning of the song, a reggae section. What's a reggae section in a Rush song? And I will explain to you why I see this. It's a kind of an invitation to be zen with this dimension of the, I would say, the market of music. Here is one of my favorite. I know so much another song sounding like this that I was not able to hear it well. When I read the words, I burst in laughter. I will explain a little bit later why. For now, just look at these words. For the words of the prophets, do you see how it sounds like prophets? Prophets were written on the studio wall, concert hall. So prophets' calculation were right there on the studio wall. Now, there are two studios involved in music. There's the studio, the recording studio, and the radio station studio. On these walls right there is an accountant somewhere behind the walls. It's true. You can be very, very, I would say, art-oriented, very pure in your way of dealing with music and composition, but the reality is that somebody is counting the time you spend in the studio, and sometimes it's very high expenses. And concert halls. Ka-ching, there are some people, ka-ching, every time we buy a t-shirt or a poster, whatever, somebody is saying yes, yes, yes. And echoes with the sound of salesmen. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Yeah, or maybe the sound of a salesman might be the words to convince the people to listen to Rush of Salesman. And I will tell you where this sentence comes from. This is great, great, if you don't know it already. Now the finale. I noticed that the only proper, I would say, solo of Leifson in that song is for the finale. Before that, there is, some space for him to play something, but he occupies the front, but with basically a chord progression that builds a certain melody that it will be reproduced by the keyboard, and so the real solo is here of Leifson, and it's great. It's wonderful. Again, you have the superb riff of the song, the rhythm section, and there is piano in there. I was surprised. I don't remember hearing piano in a Rush song, but probably there is. But it's just that not much in the albums I know. So that's it for the words. Now, let's have a general overview of the lyrics first, of the music first. It's a very complex song in terms of rhythm, but played with fluidity as Rush. That's the way they always play. There's fluidity. We rarely hear them fighting against their own parts. I've heard, I think, one recording where Neil Peart didn't seem sharp as usual. It seems that by the end of his career, he had problem with articulation. In one recording, I remember I said, the left hand is not as sharp as it used to be. But I would say 99% of the recordings I've heard, it's pinpoint perfect. It's wonderful. In fact, it's one of the best bands in the world for that. So fluidity is fluidity, and ease in very difficult section is really the trademark of Rush. Great melody, and this song has a great melody. The rhythmic section are fabulous. It's very Rush. If I wanted to introduce someone to Rush, probably this song would be one of their songs I would make them listen first. The rhythm guitar, especially the bass, the drums, each has a moment to shine in this song, and that's pretty much the generosity the members have for each other. In a show, have you looked closely to the work of Geddy Lee and Neil Peart? They play 2 or 3 parts each. I mean, we know that mainly Neil Peart is a drummer and Geddy Lee a bassman. But at one part, Geddy Lee is the singer, he plays the bass, and he plays chords, keyboard chords, with his foot, with a pedal on the floor, and never forget that he still sings. So, and sometimes he stops playing the bass, the guitar, and then he plays on the keyboard. And then you look at Neil Peart in the back, he plays the drums, of course, but at one moment, there is a percussion of some kind. There is cowbells. There is a board he has that looks like a xylophone, but it's a triggering pad for all kinds of sound. He has bells on this. Then he touches something. It becomes a keyboard with chords again. A chord of C, a chord of D. And then he comes back, and it's like some kind of marimba. And he still punch with his right hand the bass drum, and then he takes his left hand and he plays the snare, still playing a melody with his right hand. That's why Rush, in fact, they are 3 musicians, but they can play very, very elegantly different things that are quite complex, to be frank. The cement of the song from point A to Z is Leifson. And with such incredible partners, we overlook the work of Leibson, but in this song, it's terrific. It's wonderful. The chords, his playing, his riffs, the chords are wonderful. The general, and I want you to notice that he plays it a little bit heavier as well, which is a nice touch. It's a little bit more like a 2010 sound at one point. And personally, I prefer it that way than the original sound. In terms of lyrics now, it's a celebration of music through radio, of radio itself first, but especially music through radio. An almost free media, while recognizing the complex mechanism to bring this free music to everyone. There are also obstacles, but freedom for the musician to do their thing and to reach out and to speak directly to their audience through radio. So there's a celebration of that. But there are, the song says, the merchants. So the song is a celebration of the media itself. That's now the explanation of the title. The spirit of radio, with the closeness, the familiarity of radio. You know, when we do radio, I don't know if you are aware, but a radio speaker will speak like this, very close to the radio microphone, as if he's almost whispering in your ear. So the distance between the microphone and you is about 2-3 inches. This is why we say that the radio is the media for closeness, familiarity, proximity. It's part of our life. It's a joy in our solitude. So the media is celebrated, but there's celebration also of music through radio, a connection between the artist and the fans through airwaves. The radio has been the soundtrack of our life. So spirit of radio is the fact that it connects with our own emotion. There's a feedback in the choice of station we make, and there is an encounter of, I would say, two generosity. Now, here is the fun part of the song. Maybe you it didn't trigger the last among the last words, but I will read you now the words of a very famous Simon and Garfunkel song called "The Sound of Silence." There's one verse saying, "The words of the prophets are written on a subway wall, and echoes with the sound of silence." Remember that? Words of the prophets are written on the subway wall, tenement hall, and it goes with the sound of silence. With Rush, it becomes the words of the prophet are written on the studio walls and concert halls, and it goes with the sound of merchants. Of salesmen. I find that hilarious, but there is something here. There is the purity of Simon and Garfunkel and the importance of silence as giving meaning to music. Here, it's the opposite of silence, the salesman. So the music echoes in the sound of salesmen. This is great. This is absolutely great. So the song, in spirit of radio, I would say there is a pure artistic encounters of two generosities possible through radio, but there is the merchant, and the merchant they have a role in that encounter, but they can be obstacles of that. and be obstacles between the artists and their audience. In fact, they could shatter the integrity of the artists. But at the same time, they are what we say in French a necessary evil, or a necessary with reality. With reality, sometimes we have to work it out, and it's difficult not to be corrupted by reality in that sense here. But and at the end of the song, let's reggae. And I think there's a point in the reggae. It's not just for the fun of it. I think there is a statement about let's stay zen about the merchant part. It's not what we want to do, but we have we have to accommodate ourselves to that reality. Beyond the merchants, there are the fans, the real fans that you want to touch, that you want to reach out to. So don't forget that the merchant is looking for money, looking for audience, is looking for ratings. He puts your music in charts, but at the same time it gives you an opportunity to reach out to your fans. So the spirit of radio with a capital S is a closeness and connectivity, a magical world beyond price, a world of generosity, where free, gratuity, rhymes with freedom, liberty. So emotional waves is an exchange of emotion through the airwaves of radio. The creative mind, they find an audience that these people will share their world, but it will be through the technology of radio. Now, the reality of radio is a market. Reality, that's the reality of radio. Unless you are on a public radio station for the good of the people of your country or your province or your region, the radio station, they will be like markets. You have to sell yourself among others, and there comes the trademarks, the branding, the marketing, selling records, having people at your concerts. The market. So how a creative mind and a generous fan can survive in that market? And I think the song says it quite clearly. Let's stay authentic and generous. Let's stay true to ourselves, and we will survive that reality. I think that some musicians, they are there for creation. Whether or not they are listened to or understood, it's secondary. I don't mean it's not important, but it's not the main thing. First is expression of oneself. So a person will finish a record and will be in heaven, totally happy. And other musicians, the process of recording is painful. I just want to finish it so that I can be with the fans again. I can be with my audience, because my goal is communion with people who relate. These people, they relate to my music. I want to meet them. I want to be with them. And for them, tours is like a big burst of energy. And when they finish, there's even sometimes a little depression, Yep. Yeah, so generosity, authenticity, even if this is part of the reality, let's continue to be authentic, true. Let's continue to be generous. That's a great song. A great song. And the general impression we have in listening to that song is it is a feel-good song, but not a feel-good song with pale blue or pink colors, like as if everything is so beautiful, so nice, and everybody is so kind. And no, there is a look at reality that we have to be, or to keep ourselves in a way uncorrupted in a world that will call for sometimes the worst part of us. And I think it's a very realistic song while still conveying a very nice spirit of radio. Now, we continue our survey of 10 songs of Rush. Next week, it will be the 5th song, Limelight, one of the great classic of Rush. The reaction will be in French as usual on Wednesday at 1:30 in North American the eastern part of the continent, and it will be at 7:30 in Western Europe. Now, the reaction on Wednesdays and the analysis on Friday or Saturday when I have the time. I do that slowly with a big smile on my face, thinking of you. Thank you for being there. Don't forget you can subscribe. Push the little red bell just beside if you want to be notified as soon as there's a new video. And this is so much joy. I really appreciate to go back to this, I would say, teenage love for me. I've listened and learned these songs, YYZ, and when we will see Tom Sawyer. So these songs, I knew how to play them, and I worked one full year just to play 2 songs. Because they were difficult songs, and I'm not sure I did justice to them as they are. But this being said, what a great music. This was remarkable. I love that song. I love the words. I love the music. I love everything about that song. And by the way, I loved the album Permanent Waves. That's the first album of Rush I've listened until it's the 7th. I am totally thrilled by the whole album. In the other albums, there were, songs I liked and other a little bit less. But this one, I love it. From almost A to Z. There's only one song, and I'm a bit sad because it's the French title song called Entre Nous. It's okay, it's a good song, it's not a bad song, it's just that it doesn't trigger anything specific in my, neither musically or in the lyrics. As for now, I invite you for next week, Wednesday, Limelight. It will be another great one. So, bye-bye for now. See you.